News Bulletin, Weather Forecast. Late September 2025. Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our special weather forecast bulletin. We bring you a comprehensive overview of the most important atmospheric developments that will directly affect the daily lives and activities of people across the United States as well as the Atlantic Basin in the next 7 to 10 days. Ladies and gentlemen, the weather picture in the United States is now entering an extremely complex stage. Perhaps the most dynamic since the beginning of September. A series of low-pressure systems and storms are rolling across the Rocky Mountains, setting off chains of showers, thunderstorms, and even severe weather risks stretching from the Great Plains all the way to the East Coast. In addition, temperatures in the coming week will swing dramatically. Some areas will exceed 37 to 38 degrees Celsius, around 100 degrees Fahrenheit, while others will plunge to as low as 3 to 4 degrees Celsius overnight, bringing an early taste of autumn. Offshore, the Atlantic hurricane season, which has been unusually quiet, is finally waking up. Tropical storm Gabrielle has now formed and is likely to strengthen into a Category 1 hurricane before nearing Bermuda. Behind Gabrielle, more tropical waves are emerging off Africa, and signs point to the possibility of a homegrown system forming in the Caribbean or Campeche Bay by late September, a scenario reminiscent of Hurricane Helen last year. All these factors combined point to a very active, unsettled, and potentially hazardous period ahead. First, let us take a look at conditions on U.S. soil. This morning, the Midwest recorded the presence of a mesoscale convective vortex, a remnant spin leftover from previous thunderstorms. While too weak to become an independent storm, it still generated widespread scattered showers and thunderstorms along the Mississippi River Valley. Residents of Iowa, Missouri, Illinois, and Indiana should watch out for sudden downpours with lightning. The greatest concern lies in Kansas and Nebraska, where dangerous storms may erupt later this afternoon. The atmospheric setup, rich moisture and strong vertical wind shear, could support severe thunderstorms with damaging winds, large hail, and even a few isolated tornadoes. While the risk is not particularly high, it is significant enough for both residents and local authorities to remain on alert. In the West, the situation is equally volatile. California, Arizona, and New Mexico are receiving heavy moisture from the remnants of former Pacific tropical storm Mario. This surge of moisture has already triggered episodes of heavy rain and will continue to do so, raising the risk of flash flooding and landslides in the arid mountain regions. Ironically, communities long accustomed to drought now face another extreme, when rain falls too fast and too intensely. Parched soils cannot absorb it, leading to sudden runoff and flooding. Local governments must respond quickly with preparedness and early warnings. Along the East Coast, most states from New England down to the Carolinas are enjoying dry and pleasant weather this morning, except for southern Florida. There, heavy rainfall continues and will persist for several days. A persistent moisture convergence zone, combined with onshore flow, is fueling intense showers from Miami to West Palm Beach. With soils already saturated, urban flooding is hard to avoid. But, ladies and gentlemen, what is happening now is merely the prelude to far greater changes. From now through mid-next week, multiple low-pressure systems will cross the Rockies, creating successive rounds of thunderstorms nationwide. After the current weak system near the Great Lakes dissipates, two more lows will emerge, one off California, another over Wyoming, fueled by moisture from both the Pacific and the Gulf of Mexico. They will work together to generate long belts of storms stretching from the west coast across the plains to the east. By midweek, the rare scenario of 3 to 4 simultaneous low-pressure systems over U.S. territory may unfold, a true storm train, unloading day after day of rain and thunder. This means that from Sunday through Wednesday, large parts of the plains and Midwest will experience repeated rounds of widespread showers and thunderstorms. The first system entering the Central Plains on Tuesday may not be strong enough to produce a large, organized outbreak, but it still carries the potential for localized severe storms. Missouri down into North Texas is the prime area for damaging winds, hail, and lightning. Later in the week, Another low could form over the northeast, soaking New York, Pennsylvania, and Massachusetts with prolonged rainfall. Meanwhile, temperature swings will add another layer of complexity. Currently, much of the Midwest, Southern Plains, and Pacific Northwest are running above average, while the Northeast is cooler due to a low spinning offshore Nova Scotia. But by early next week, the Great Plains will heat up sharply again, with highs reaching 35 to 37 degrees Celsius, 95 to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. This hot southerly flow pulling Gulf moisture northward will only heighten storm risks. By midweek, however, a backdoor cold front will drop southward from Canada into the Great Lakes, sending nighttime lows tumbling to 3 to 4 degrees Celsius, high 30s low 40s degree F. Such sharp contrasts between hot humid air and cool dry air will further fuel storm development. For residents, this brings both an early autumn chill and a reminder to be wary of extreme weather. In the 7 to 10-day outlook, models show repeated episodes of rain and thunderstorms. This weekend, the Midwest and Central Plains will see widespread rain. On Monday to Tuesday, another rocky-borne low will produce more organized storms, with Tuesday looking most concerning, especially for Missouri, Oklahoma, and northern Texas. Tornado risk remains low but cannot be ruled out. At the same time, a weak trough over Pennsylvania could spark isolated thunderstorms across the mid-Atlantic. By midweek, as cooler air arrives, storms will shift southward, focusing on the Gulf states and lingering into next weekend. Overall, the upcoming stretch will be dominated by a storm corridor extending from the Central Plains to the Atlantic seaboard. Today, Kansas and Nebraska are under the highest risk window, between 4 and 8 p.m., for strong thunderstorms with hail, damaging winds, and even a couple of small tornadoes. Now let's move offshore, where the Atlantic hurricane season is stirring again. After a lull, Tropical Storm Gabrielle has formed northeast of the Lesser Antilles. Forecasts call for it to strengthen into a Category 1 hurricane in the coming days as it nears Bermuda. This is troubling news for the island nation, where residents may face high winds, rough seas, and coastal flooding. The good news: Gabrielle is almost certain not to threaten the U.S. mainland, with its track aiming northeast, away from the Bahamas and the East Coast. Trailing Gabrielle, another tropical wave has just emerged off Africa and is moving west across the Atlantic. Its development is uncertain due to dry Saharan air, but if it survives, it could become the next named system. Of greater concern, however, is the potential by late September for a homegrown tropical system to spin up in the Caribbean or Campeche Bay as the Madden-Julian oscillation turns favorable. Such storms, like last year's Hurricane Helen, can intensify quickly close to land, posing a heightened risk to the U.S. Gulf and southeast coasts. In summary, late September is shaping up to be an active and volatile weather period, multiple storm systems rolling across the U.S., dramatic swings between extreme heat and early season chill, and the Atlantic basin stirring with tropical storms once again. Meteorologists often call this the second storm season of autumn, a time notorious for surprise severe weather events. Residents are urged to follow local advisories closely, prepare for flash floods, damaging winds, hail, and tornadoes, and monitor the tropics carefully, where storm tracks can shift overnight. Thank you for watching this bulletin. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and enable notifications so you never miss the latest updates. We will continue to bring you detailed coverage as hurricane season and autumn weather enter their peak. Goodbye for now, and see you again soon.